Caitlin was a very sweet-natured, thoughtful, sensitive, kind person. She always thought about others, and me and Caitlin were very close, especially with her being the third child, kind of. She was kept the baby of the family. And she was sat putting some makeup on and she said, "Oh, we're going out for a meal." So I said, "Oh, fair enough, you don't need any tea then." And me and Caitlin stood at the bottom of the stairs and she just asked my reassurance and said, "Do I look alright, Mum?" And I said, "Yeah." And then her and the driver of the car left and I just saw the back of her head, the long dark hair as she left the house. At 1:30 in the morning, liaison officers arrived at the house and Mike was waiting on the drive for them, and he came running into the house and just nodded at me and said, "It's Caitlin." And then my liaison officers came in and I was just sat in the chair. I was just in shock and I was just numb, thinking, no, it's not Caitlin. They've got it wrong, it's not Caitlin. And what they were saying wasn't actually sinking into my head, what my liaison officer was saying. The only word or sentence that stuck in my head that took my breath away was they said that Caitlin was in the mortuary at West Cumberland Hospital. And that was then when I reacted and I said, "I need to go to her. Caitlin will need me, she'll want me." And they said that they would take me to her the next morning. All the girls at work nicknamed Caitlin Oates after Audrey Hepburn because her hair was so long she had to wear it tied up for work, and she always had it tied up in a bun, and she had very petite features, and so the nickname Oates was always given to her. That's what they always called her. And in memory of Caitlin, they've planted a cherry tree up at the Ratty for her, Ravenglass Ratty, and on the plaque it says, "In memory of our roads." From the inquest, we found out then that from the collision investigator, when he explained everything to us, that it was basically down to inexperience. Sky had just passed her test a few months beforehand and had never driven that road and never driven with passengers in. The driver didn't have an experienced driver in the car with her because the two passengers, my daughter and the backseat passenger, weren't drivers, and so they had no experience to say, "Slow down a little bit, we're coming up to a corner," or anything like that. I came across the graduated driving licence, and once I read it I thought, well, that makes complete sense, that if we had the graduated driving licence in the UK, this crash wouldn't have happened because the driver wouldn't have been allowed to carry passengers because she would have been classed as a novice driver with just passing her test. She would have only been able to drive with an experienced driver for up to 2 years after passing her test. And so that's why I'm now helping Brake and backing Brake, because they've done so much for me in helping me that I want to give them help and a thank you to them to back them with the graduated driving licence and trying to get it law in this country. And also it's a way of me as well, that I feel that I'm still doing something for Caitlin. I can't wash her clothes anymore, I can't make her tea for her anymore, I don't receive a phone call to say, "Mum, can you just get me this from the shop?" So this is still my connection with Caitlin, that I'm doing something for her, protecting her kind of thing, and protecting our younger generation, because this is the most horrendous thing a mother has to cope with. Seeing your child laid in a mortuary, hearing all the injuries that your child received, and then watching them being buried is a living nightmare. And to keep my mind focused rather than the crash going round and round and round in my head, and the whats and the ifs and the buts and all that, I'm focusing on the graduated driving licence, as it's a positive thing for young drivers. With Caitlin being the youngest, I tried to protect her also with her having hemiplegia, and I wouldn't let Caitlin go to festivals until she was 18, and the year of 2017, when she was 18, she had her ticket ready to go to the festival. She had her wellies and her raincoat and her rucksack all ready, and she never made it to that festival because the day that she should have been going to the festival, she was buried that day instead.